Hi, I'm Bodie Pendus, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this box with mitered edges on the top and bottom. How I did it on my small parts sled. So let's get to cracking.
So I'm making my 45-degree miter cuts with my new sled. So here I am cutting a piece, and I'm starting to measure it and said, wait a minute, it'd be easier if I did a relative measure. So I put it to the edge and I use a stop block so I get both pieces cut exactly the same length. So now I'm going to cut this other ends, do the same relative measure with a stop block, and then voila, we got all four pieces cut.
45 degree, you see they have a few little fuzzies here, and that's typical of mahogany. So we'll just sand those lightly and we'll see how it fits. I did a tape dry fit, so the corners look pretty good. We'll put a square on them to see. So this is the end of my box. So I want to have a inset in here. So I'm going to cut it in this direction, the width of my panel, and cut about halfway in on this edge here. So I've set my table saw to the maximum I'm going to cut here, and half the height of the width of this panel. So let's cut it.
So take my piece and cut that one strip, and you do it on both edges on all four pieces. Actually move it in so I get my sacrificial fence out so I can run my blade right up next to the fence and cut it. Then I take my plane to be able to just square up those little fuzzies that are on leftover when you get that little bitty strip in between. And away we go. As with many small boxes, tape is plenty adequate to do clamps, and that's what I'm using here is just some tape. Put a little glue on all my strips, spread it about, fold it all up together, and away we go. Tape it back together, let it dry.
Put these ends into the box, and I have this, looks pretty tight down here. You can see you have a little bit of a off kilter there. But what that makes is this is flush here along there. So I'm just going to put this in my vise and just shave it down with my plane. So I want to start here and end up there. Maybe only a shaving or two. Okay. One more and I'll test it. Alright, so we did that shaving on that. Fits nice. Now we can glue up the ends. And I want to have minimal glue squeeze out as I put this in here. So I'm going to use my glue syringe just to put a bead of glue around here. And I'm actually going to put it on this face because as I slide it in, it'll push it into the corners. So now we can take our glue syringe, go around the corner lightly. So we let that sit for a moment while we get our water and our paper towel. Because these edges are so prone to chip outs, I'm going to burnish the edge because the miters run this way, and you know that mahogany will splinter easy. I'm going to burnish these edges around part of the screwdriver. Rather than round over, and rather than using a plane, which I normally would do to create, soften the edges. So this is pushing the fibers together.
Then I take my hand plane and just even up all the corners and get them nice and flush to the edges. So this is making a handle for the top of the box. So I actually have a few remnant pieces. I had 4 layers of it that I glued together, and I want to make a little angle. So I'm just taking my hand plane. You can see the pencil marks on the side that I'm trying to plane down to. So I do it a couple times in one direction, and I turn my little handle around, reclamp it, and then I plane it at about, somewhere around 40 to 45 degree. Nothing exact here, just whatever I can get on the hand plane. Let's see how the handle looks on the top. Now I'm recessing a hole for the bead that'll go on top of this Beads of Courage box. Now comes the fun time to cut your box open after you have all the sides glued together. So I determine about the hole somewhere between 1/3 and 1/4 from the top, and I just cut each of the sides, and you cut the last side of it, voila, there you have 2 pieces. So I'm using the General Finishes Armor Seal because it's nice, it's easy, it's a wipe on. It's the same finish I used on my fireplace mantle. It creates a nice little sheen, nice finish.
Trying my best not to remember, water on a burning ember. It's late and I want to go to sleep, but this feeling I have just won't leave. Was it something I did, something I said, the emperor of the slam door in my head?
So if you liked our video on building a box with beveled corners, be sure and give me a thumbs up. Want to see more of our builds? Consider subscribing down below. And as usual, come back and see me real soon.